Hi, Miss Marion here. We are doing lesson 8, so go back to page 137, and we are working with the I can statements. I can write equations of a line using y equals mx plus b. I can explain where to find the slope and the vertical intercept in both the equation and its graph. Give yourself a sentence, give yourself a number. So 1, I don't remember. 2, I kind of remember it. 3, I remember it, but don't ask me to teach it. And 4, I know it, and I can teach it to my friend. Go ahead and do a sentence and a number. For today, you should be able to coordinate orally features of the equation of y equals mx plus b to the graph, including lines with a negative y-intercept. You're going to be able to create and compare orally and in writing graphs that represent linear relationships with the same rate of change but different initial values. This is our goal for today, so you should be able to do this by the end of today. All right, go ahead and turn to page 71, and let's go ahead and answer this question. So we have this graph. The diagram shows several lines. You can only see part of the lines, but lines always extend out forever. Answer the question 1. Which lines are images of line F under a translation? Remember, that's a slide. And then for each line that is a translation of F, draw an arrow to the grid that shows the vertical translation distance. So go ahead and pause right now, answer that question. All right, let's go ahead and answer number 1. Which lines are images of line F underneath a translation? So we are looking at line F. That is this one right here. And so which ones can I slide up or down to make the same? So I can be slid downward. And then up to F, we can slide it upward. And so let's go ahead and let's kind of figure that out. How much can we slide up and down? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick a point on line I, and then I'm going to see how far it goes up. So well, actually, technically from F to I, so we're going to go 1, 2, so we're going to do 2 downward, and then we want to go from F to H, and I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to pick a point on F, so let's pick this one right here. So, and we're going to go upward. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps upward. So again, we're just kind of looking at lines and seeing how they can be the same. All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 72. On page 72, we are going to answer we're going to do number 1, answer that question. Diego earns $10 per hour babysitting. Assume that he has no money saved before he starts babysitting and plans to save all of his earnings. Graph how much money Y he has after X hours of babysitting. Go ahead and pause right now and go ahead and graph that. So let's go ahead and let's graph that situation. So Diego earns $10 per hour. That's how it changes. And he has no money saved at the beginning. So he starts with 0 in his pocket. And then let's think about it. So after 1 hour, he's going to have $10. And after $2 at 2 hours, he's going to have $20. And it will kind of keep on going on and on and on this way. So this is situation, the first situation. Let's go ahead and do number 2. Now imagine that Diego starts with $30 before he starts babysitting on the same axis of what we did before, and he's still making $10 per hour. Go ahead and graph this situation. So go ahead and pause for a second and graph that and see if you get the same as me. So Diego starts with $10, or starts with 30 and is making $10 for 1 hour. Okay, let's go ahead and graph that. We start with 30, and then after 1 hour, he's going to make $10 more, so he'll have $40, then 50, 60, and keep on going further with that also. So now let's go ahead and let's compare the second line with the first line. So how much money will Diego have after 1 hour? So the second line, he's going to have $40, but at first he's only going to have 10. At 2 hours, he's going to have $50, but at first he only has 20. And then at 5 hours, he has $80 at the second one, but at first he only has $50. So the rest of the question is, how would it happen after X hours of babysitting? So pretty much what we're doing is we are writing an equation for both the blue line and then also the red line. So go ahead and pause right now and write those two equations. So let's go ahead and let's look at the red line. The red line is kind of what we've been used to. It is a proportional relationship. It does go through 0, 0. And then what is the slope for the red line? So let's go ahead and do that. So if we do a slope triangle, this is 1 and this is 10. So the k value or the slope for the red triangle is 10 over 1. And where did it actually start? Well, Diego started with 0 in his bank account. And so let's go ahead and write an equation for the red line. So Diego, he has 0 in his account and it changes by 10. So let's kind of remember that what we're following as far as the equation wise, we are doing a y equals, and I'm going to kind of flip it. We're going to say change. How does the situation change with an x sitting next to it, plus where does it start? And that's kind of what we're looking at. So the equation for the red is, and I'm going to kind of flip it because this is how mathematicians do it. So let's go ahead and flip that. The equation that we're looking for is y equals 10x plus 0. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing with the blue equation. So where does it start as far as the blue equation? It starts with 30. And then let's go ahead and find that slope triangle also. So we can do it between 2 points. Here's a 10, here is a 1. So it has the same slope. So let's go ahead and put that all together. The blue equation is going to be y equals 10x and then plus 30. Because he starts with 30 in his account and he changes by 10 for the blue one. And then remember at the beginning he started with 0 in his account and he changes by 10. So at the bottom of page 73, we're going to kind of look at some graphs and see how the equations are actually done. So I'm going to show you a video. You need to write down the equation of the lines for line 1, line 2, line 3, and line 4.
Here is line 1. Write it down on page 73. Here is line 2. Write it down on the bottom of page 73. Here is line 3. Write it down on bottom of page 73. Here is line 4. Write it down on page 73.
So these are the equations that you should have on the bottom of page 73. Please notice how the slopes stay the same. So 1/2 x, 1/2 x, 1/2 x, and 1/2 x. Notice how the begin kind of changed as far as where it actually was, and we slid it up to make it 2, slid it again up to make it 3, slid it down to make it -2. So if you need to go through that again, look at them a little bit further as far as where those equations came from. All right, go ahead and turn to page 73 is kind of where it starts. This is where you see the graph and the directions. It says select all of the equations whose graph is the line H. And then the equations are actually on page 74. I put them all together so that you can kind of see it together with the picture and the equations. So go ahead and pause right now and make sure all of them which are line H. So first of all, let's go ahead and just write the equation for line H and then see which ones are going to be the same. So notice how line H starts here. That is our starting point. So we have -5 in there. And then we also need to go ahead and do a slope triangle to go ahead and figure out what the slope is going to be. So I'm going to decide to go ahead and do this slope triangle. So I have 1 as my vertical, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 as my horizontal. So my slope is going to be 1/4. Please remember that our equation that we're kind of following is y equals a change with an x plus kind of where they start. So the equation for line H is going to be y equals 1 over 4x plus a negative 5. So this is the equation for line H, and then we're going to go ahead and figure out which ones are going to be the same. So let's go ahead and go through them. So is A the same? So y equals 1 over 4x minus 5. So is plus a negative 5 the same as minus 5? Yes, it is. So yes, A is an answer. Let's go ahead and look at B. Y equals 1 over 4x plus 5. Is a positive 5 the same as a negative 5? No, it is not. So B is not an answer. Let's look at C. Can we kind of rearrange it? We have 1 over 4x minus 5 equals y. So those kind of flipped-flopped. Is that the same as y equals 1 over 4x plus a negative 5? Yeah, that is. So we have C is an answer. So let's go ahead and go through D. So D, y equals negative 5 plus 1 over 4x. So these kind of played musical chairs. Can that be an answer? Yeah, that's okay. We can play musical chairs. It doesn't change anything. Yep. Let's look at E. So E, negative 5 plus 1 over 4x equals y. So again, all of these kind of played musical chairs. Do we still have negative 5? Yeah. Do we have 1 over 4? Yeah. Do we still have an x next to 1 over 4? Yeah. Do we have a y? Hey, that is actually an answer. So that's going to go ahead and work. And then let's look at F. Y equals, now look, let's see this. This is a positive 5. Remember, we always look in front of it to see if it's positive or negative. So that is a positive 5, and then we have a negative 1 over 4. Do I have a positive 5? No. Do I have a negative 1 over 4? No. So is F one of the answers for H? It is not. So the answer for page 73 to 74 is A, C, D, and E. So what we're going to go ahead and do is in Canvas, there's an assignment called Unit 3, Lesson 8, Card Sort. What you're going to do is you're going to match each line, H, with an equation, a table, or description. So make sure you kind of understand where that piece of information is coming from. You might need to go ahead and make an equation for those. So make sure you do this before you go ahead and do your practice problems, and then come back after that. So today we talked about writing equations for lines, and so remember we have y equals the change, x, so y equals how does that line change, which is the slope, x plus kind of where it starts. So if it's a proportional relationship, it starts at 0. If it's not, then either starts with a positive number or a negative number where that line crosses that vertical axis. Go ahead and turn back to page 137. Give yourself a sentence about, you can write equations of lines using y equals mx plus b. And then you can explain where to find the slope and the vertical intercept in both the equation and its graph. Writing a sentence and how you feel, give yourself a number. So 1, I'm confused. 2, I kind of got it. 3, I got it. But then 4, I can teach it to my friend. Make sure you go ahead and do the practice problems for today. It is practice problems for lesson 8, and it's also found in the modules. Have a good day. Bye.